Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Crime and Sports Podcast. We are here with episode number 2. Our first episode was on Ray Carruth. This week, we bring you an even bigger scumbag, possibly. If I don't know, you kill a pregnant girl, that's pretty bad, but this guy was a shithead, too. Lawrence Phillips, everybody.
Yes.
My name is James Pietragallo, here with
Jimmy Whisman.
And we are going to bring you the worst in sports. So let's get started with Lawrence Phillips.
I was straight-faced, and then you pressed record, and I can't stop smiling.
That happens.
This is fun.
A gentleman like Lawrence Phillips brings a smile to lots of people's faces, the ladies especially, teenage boys in a pickup football game. Imagine how much they did smile when Lawrence Phillips showed up to play pickup football with them at the park.
No way, the running back from the Rams.
That's Lawrence Phillips,
That's
man.
him.
I thought he had wow, he was so good in college. They won a national championship. Hey, look, that's a nice car. Oh, fuck. And then they're running, and there's grass chunks flying everywhere.
That was a sweet car at 65. It's a little
that?
yeah,
Ooh,
that's so hard to look at the detail on.
Rims
Slow down,
on that
slow
thing.
down.
Oh, no. The grill, it's horrible and large. Make it stop. We'll get into that, though. We'll get into Lawrence Phillips' deeds and his how he plays football with teenagers. But first, let's start at the beginning.
The best place.
Lawrence Phillips was born a boy.
Yes.
That's definite.
He may have been born a man.
He was probably born a man. Lawrence Phillips was a beast of a man in all possible ways. Lawrence Phillips had an interesting childhood.
Yeah.
Raised by his mother. His dad wasn't around. Apparently had an abusive stepfather that the mother brought in. There's stories of him holding young Lawrence down with his foot while urinating on him in front of his mother.
Sounds like a party.
It's a nice, it seems like a pleasant way to grow up. So, of course, Lawrence, rightfully so, blamed his mother for this infraction, for allowing this to happen. So, Lawrence not having a good time. Football did find a place in football.
Found an outlet for all that anger.
An outlet to unleash his, had to be pent-up rage, I would imagine.
Tons of it.
Tons. Judging by later years.
Hatred of women.
He didn't get it all out.
Right.
Let's just say that. He had some he kept in reserve.
Absolutely.
Stored up.
Left a little remaining.
You got to leave a little.
Yeah.
You got to leave a little for the ladies. You know what I mean? 'Cause I think that's what he was doing. He was just leaving a little for the ladies, a little something for the ladies. And the teenage boys who he plays pickup football with. So anyway, Lawrence Phillips, obviously great high school football player.
Fantastic.
Baldwin Park High School in California. I guess he lived with one of his coaches, this Pagone guy.
Right.
He was very close with them and the family. Stories of this guy driving him to school so he could make classes at 7 a.m. because he was.
They do discuss his softer side in early life as well. Growing up in group homes, he did assist a boy that could not read or write in learning how to read or write, and he never made fun of him. So if there's anything to glean from this that's positive about Lawrence Phillips, he did not ever call a dummy a dummy. Probably because he was also a dummy.
He probably used him to tackle also, or just set him up outside. No, that's the odd thing too, and I guess it's not odd because you hear about it a lot. Maybe not with like serial killers or something, but a lot of times with guys like this that are like these extreme highs, and he's running for 1,700 yards in a season. He's beating the shit out of any woman that crosses his path. Like, he's running in the red, and it seems like a lot of times they also have, like, compassion to the extreme, too. It's a very weird thing. So
at least one person in their life has that he wasn't so bad.
There's a bunch of people that say that. Yeah. The Pagone family says how great he was with their boys and how he brought them out of their shell. And there's all sorts of... He's an odd duck. Let's say, this is Lawrence Phillips.
To say the least.
An interesting personality altogether. Anyway, so group homes, bad stuff, held down, urination, mom bad. He's playing high school football. Everything's pretty much fine in high school. A couple of minor things, but nothing that was ever brought up, and he wasn't arrested, arrests, or anything like that. As kids do.
Right.
He gets recruited for college. I mean, here's this kid. He's having a great high school. And the
story begins.
And Tom Osborne comes to his house, who was a legendary Nebraska football coach at the time. And, 1 second he's being peed on in front of his mom. Next second, Tom Osborne sitting in front of him.
Standing right in front of him telling him, we want you, son.
At Nebraska, which sounds like a horrible proposition to be drugged to Nebraska at any point in time. But then this was not bad. To be dragged there, to play football for Tom Osborne in Nebraska in the 90s was a very good thing for a young man to do. The only time it was ever okay to go to Nebraska. So
come to Nebraska and enjoy the perks of you get to play for Tom Osborne. That's really it.
I drove through Nebraska a couple years ago, and Lincoln, Nebraska is hell on earth. It's hell on earth. We pulled in, just wanted a good meal, dying for a good meal. Every single person we asked, from a store to a hotel, anybody we asked, where can we find a good restaurant? They all said, there's a Perkins.
You got all-you-can-eat soup bread bowls.
They were all real excited. We were like, what about something besides the Perkins? And they looked at us like we were crazy, like, not the Perkins? Like, no idea. So that's Lincoln, Nebraska. He went to the land of Perkins, and which possibly could also have added to his violent tendencies. I'm not
You can't blame a guy when that's all that's on the table to eat.
I can't slander the Perkins Corporation to that level and blame them, but that weird strawberry sauce on pancakes, that does weird shit to people. That's all I'm saying. That and some head blows to the head.
It's not real strawberries. That's a chemical compound of some sort. It probably does things to your brain like smashing into running backs and defensive linemen at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, and then you run teenage boys over with your car. Okay, we'll get to that.
And we start.
That's so down the road. Anyway, that's just so down the road.
It's so fun, though.
So he gets into Nebraska. He's even in his freshman year, he starts to play, has a really good time. He was pretty nasty in his freshman year even. Yeah. Sophomore year, though, is when Lawrence Phillips became the man.
Yes, that's when he showed his colors.
Yeah. They had guys like Tommy Frazier and Brooke Berringer as their quarterbacks. So hard to believe the passing offense wasn't, just flinging it down the field.
Lights out.
1984 Dan Marino. It's shocking to think that it wasn't, but apparently they needed a running game.
Right.
Which is where Lawrence Phillips came in. And back then, too, God, remember those games with the Nebraska teams like that? They were like just molasses. There was no throwing at all.
Slow moving.
The whole excitement was
clock.
Who's going to run it this time? Yeah. Is it the quarterback going to run it, or are they going to give it to that guy to run it?
Right.
There was just running. It was boring. But for me, I don't know. Anyway, so he gets in. This guy ties a school record, rushes for 100 or more yards in 11 straight games, which is
incredible.
Which is amazing.
That's
in 94.
Absurd in college.
Yeah,
absurd.
And they were loading up on him like they used to do with like Lawrence Taylor in the 80s,
right.
And they'd have like an offensive tackle and like a tight end and then like a fucking running back coming in trying to hit him in the kneecap too, like to block him. This was the same type of thing. They really were. I mean, we're talking about Brooke Berringer as the quarterback, right. So they're teeing off on Lawrence Phillips. They got a beast back there, and they got Brooke Berringer, who they're not afraid of.
And they're chip-shotting and dirty play, clip tackling his legs. And,
they're going after him.
And he doesn't stop.
Doesn't stop.
1,100 yards in 10 games.
He's got stepfather urine as his fuel.
He's running on old man piss.
He's running on hatred and urine at this point. So he runs for 1,722 yards, which is still Is that still the school record? It's still only for, I think it's for a sophomore or junior or something like that. But it's pretty good.
That's
1,722 yards. It's, in the NFL, that's good playing 16
That's absurd.
Games.
Yeah.
This guy, they're only playing probably 11 games back then. I don't know if that includes the bowl game or not, but I don't know. Let's see here. Anyway, he Nebraska won the national championship that year, 94.
Thanks, Larry.
Undefeated season. Good job, Larry.
Way to bring the heat.
Tom Osborne getting it done. Let's see. Also, he started his crime. This is like he's dipping his toe in the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just see how it is in Nebraska. It's cold here.
There's a crime room, and he just cracked the door open and kind of just peeked in there and said, "What's going on in here?" Oh, I think
smells rather crimey in there.
What is that, crime? Yeah. You see a little assault, a little vandalism, maybe something like that. He was charged with some assault and vandalism type things. Yeah, they basically blew it off so he could play in the Orange Bowl, which
1,722 yards.
Fantastic.
That's what you do.
Yeah, you blow it off.
Yeah.
There's a recurring theme for Lawrence Phillips in his whole life and career. There is always a gray-haired white man in his 60s that's there to make sure that Lawrence Phillips is not accountable for any of his actions.
He's the original Blind Side, and they are everywhere.
They're
everywhere.
Amazing. I mean, right from Pagone, who, his defense, he was a teenager at that point, he's helping him out, nice guy, to Tom Osborne, who, let's be realistic, he's just brushing this under the rug.
Right, he wants rings.
So he can get some national championships.
Right.
And then Dick Vermeil was probably in tears at some point, as he always was, saying Lawrence Phillips is a wonderful human being. And, so here he is. Okay, so that's a one problem. So that kind of blows over. No big deal there. Next season, another thing. See, this is just a small thing. He gets in trouble with the NCAA. There's an investigation saying that he accepted a $100 lunch from an agent. A lunch. Not even $100. Not even a gift card.
Such a huge infraction. This $100 lunch.
The lunch is the end of the world.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a $100 lunch. No good. They have an investigation. A quote investigation. Lawrence Phillips reimburses the agent. Make sure that
attaboy. See, big heart.
Big heart.
Big heart.
And also makes him eligible to play.
Absolutely.
Because then they were like, hey, no harm, no foul. Right. He paid him back. It was just a loan. The check came. He was like, I left my card back at the dorm. And he was like, it's all right. I got it. I got back next time. And, you know how it goes.
I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for 2 cheeseburgers today.
You know how it goes. $100 cheeseburgers. It's very good cheeseburger. Well, he's a big man, Lawrence Phillips. He needs a lot of energy.
Absolutely.
He has women to drag down the stairs by their hair.
Women to punch.
He's got women to punch. So, it's 1995. Lawrence Phillips is a Heisman Trophy frontrunner. He's a beast. And then some things happen. Now this is kind of go time for this whole thing.
Can we call you Larry? Lawrence, okay. Lawrence.
Larry, listen, Larry, things are not going well for you. So at this point, they play Michigan State, and Nick Saban coached Michigan State.
Oh.
Yeah, Nick Saban coached Michigan State. Saban not having a good time here. As Lawrence Phillips runs roughshod over them. For 206 yards. He's just
Tim Tebow and his God to save you yet, Saban.
Saban was, he was not the coach that we're looking at now. I don't think he was probably as respected as Lawrence Phillips was running all over him. So, anyway, they win this big game against Michigan State. He comes back home to East Lansing, or they get back from East Lansing, and it starts. Phillips gets arrested for assault.
Oh, boy.
Now, this is of the Kate McEwen woman.
This is a bad one.
This is a bad one.
This one's really bad.
Kate McEwen played basketball for the women's Huskers.
Yes.
She was a woman Husker.
Yeah. Judging by her pictures that I've seen, power forward minimum. She's a big girl. She's built.
She looks like a big girl. She looks sturdy.
Yeah.
Like you could climb her.
Yeah,
like a large.
Looks like it would take a lot to knock her over.
Yeah, you'd need like a Heisman candidate.
Right, something like that, right, to really get it down.
Yeah, it's good. So Tom Osborne actually steps up and suspends him at this point, which is shocking, honestly. I'm surprised he just...
For the assault of Kate, correct?
For the assault of Kate.
And the assault of Kate was the one that he King Kong scaled a building.
Not racial, by the way.
No, not by any stretch, because
racist.
This man climbed 3 stories, went in a sliding patio door, and drug this woman out by her hair, smashing her face into a mailbox. For what reason other than, please tell them, James?
I can't. You do it. It's not even fair.
Sleeping with the backup quarterback was the accusation that he heard from his teammate, and without a call or a letter, he just scaled a... I mean, you find out that sturdy of a woman, and she was fairly attractive, is sleeping with your own teammate, not just, but the backup. The backup. How dare you? The backup quarterback, not even the starter. And he scales a building and pummels her into submission, for which he is arrested. That's fantastic. I love that story.
In all fairness, we do not know if there was ever submission.
That's a good point. That is a
She
good
might
point.
have been unconscious.
It may have just been
and unable to.
just a KO, and while he's
just,
dancing around the
unable to.
octagon with his hands in the air.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
So Lawrence Phillips, this was at a time in the NFL where the NFL now is very, very image focused, especially with the domestic violence.
Right.
You know, you got guys like Ray Rice. This guy was the original Ray Rice.
Absolutely.
By the way. This guy made Ray Rice look like a bitch.
Ray Rice he's a 1 KO quitter. He's nothing.
Ray
He's
Rice is
nothing.
a hack.
Yeah.
He's a hack.
Ray Rice is just copying.
He's a hack. He's a total knockoff.
Just looking at your paper and then claiming his own answers.
He's like one of these guys going
That's
around
not how you
sounding
do
like
it.
Hedberg. You know what I mean? Like that's what he's doing basically.
That's not
He's
how
like,
you do
hey,
it, right?
Man,
Yeah.
I could knock a woman out too.
In an elevator, on camera. That ain't shit. I scaled a building, Ray. Get off your ass.
What about the Dufresnes? Oh, I knocked them out and drugged them down a flight of stairs by their hair.
Smashing her head into a mailbox.
I don't know how Lawrence Phillips became Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah.
We're really down a fucking rabbit hole here with this whole thing. But
Smashed into a mailbox that said Dufresne across the side. That's amazing. So good. It's so good.
if you don't know Mitch Hedberg jokes or any of this is going to sound
Google
insane,
that joke about the Dufresnes. It's amazing.
It makes
joke.
sense.
It
Trust
does.
me, it really
it does.
And if you do get it, congratulations, because you're a jackass too.
And
So here we go. All right. So anyway, this is amazing. So despite all this that's gone on, back then the NFL really looked at talent.
Yeah.
They really said, yeah, he did all that.
Punches chicks, slams her head.
Man, did you see him in the Orange Bowl?
1,722 yards on the season.
God.
He's a monster.
Jesus, he made Tommy Frazier look good. Do you understand? Brooks Behringer looked like a quarterback with this guy in the backfield? Holy balls. So the Rams, a team of questionable decisions, let's be honest.
Sure.
They're moving back to L.A. This is one of the reasons why we're doing this. The Rams, they're moving back to L.A. now. They moved to St. Louis. A little unstable of a team.
Yeah.
This is not one of their better decisions. They have the number 6 overall draft pick, and they choose Lawrence
This is a
Phillips.
team that had Eric Dickerson.
At one point,
At
yes.
one point.
They had Eric Dickerson.
And they think this is the next coming of Dickerson minus the goggles.
But Dickerson, if you look at it, Dickerson with all the SMU violations, he never really climbed a building and beat the shit out of a woman. But there was violations, NCAA.
Sure.
I mean, there was character concerns with Dickerson as well. Not nearly to this extent.
But they figure this guy's got that sort of talent, and we want him.
And he did.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great.
We cannot understate what a great running back this guy was.
He was incredible.
College. He was an absolute monster.
Yeah.
He was strong. He was fast. He's one of these guys that you look at and you go, how does that guy fail in the NFL?
Yeah. How does that guy fail at life in general? He's going to have everything just presented to him.
And he's not like a Reggie Bush where you look at him and be like, oh, I don't know, he's kind of small. I don't know if this guy's going to be able to run it 20 times a game. This guy,
his legs aren't so big.
Lawrence
this guy's
Phillips
a monster.
He looked like OJ.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He's very similar to OJ.
Yeah, very.
He's very.
Just didn't kill him.
No,
that's it.
he rubs up against the side of OJ. He's like he's sniffing the air around OJ. Didn't kill a woman.
No.
We'll get into later on.
We'll get more.
So anyway, the Rams pick him. Everybody thought he was going to be amazing, obviously.
Sure.
Wasn't really that amazing. Didn't have a good year. 193 carries for 632 yards his first year. Pretty pedestrian.
Yeah.
Not very good. Things got out of control here for Lawrence Phillips a little bit.
Yeah.
He had some. They demote him to second string because he's kind of piss poor and he's probably distracted.
Yeah.
He's got issues.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rage.
Yeah.
He always has the sound of urine
Yeah.
in his ears. Like
He always
hitting
hears
the
a
floor
trickle.
next to him. There's always a trickle. So you have to really take into account the trickle of urine that's going through this man's head at a constant
And
basis.
after such a successful year, a couple of years in college, and then you go into the NFL to have just it's depressing. It's nothing great. to go from that to that, it must have been just so brutal. So brutal.
But he did have money.
Yeah,
he did,
plenty of that.
He did have. He did make a shitload of money, a couple $1 million here. Anyway, so yeah, they end up cutting him. He got mad. He stormed out. Once again, emotional issues. The trickle of urine built up.
And now it's becoming a stream.
It's becoming a stream. They couldn't deal with him anymore. So it's funny, but Dick Vermeil cuts him, and of course he cries while he cuts him. Once again, a silver-haired, salt and pepper, middle-aged white gentleman.
Where are they?
Crying for Lawrence Phillips. So he gets signs with the Dolphins.
Yes.
Which you think Miami would be a good place for him.
Sure.
You figure a guy like that, you want to get him hopped up on cocaine also. That's going to help.
Get that piss engine churning. Get it
That's
going.
going to help. That's the only thing that keeps the piss down.
Absolutely.
But they released him after, guess what he did? I'm going to give you one guess what he did.
Wait.
Pled no contest to assaulting a woman.
Oh my God!
It's shocking.
Are you
right?
serious?
It's shocking. It is shocking.
That doesn't match up with his track record.
Starting to sense a pattern.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
Pattern.
Who was this one?
This one, there's not a lot of information on this one because he pled no contest.
Probably it's Miami. Some broad on a beach.
This was one where it seemed like he just wanted to be like, I don't want this one in the press. No contest.
Sure.
Don't want to have a big deal.
I'm sure it had to do with public urination. He's not fans of urine, and that town is full of people pissing on sidewalks.
Full of urine. And this starts a pattern of, he played for the Rams 96, 97.
Mm-hmm.
And 97 actually a better year than 96 too, which he was starting to come into his own, but then
starting to figure out the NFL.
Yeah, he goes to Miami in 97 for a little bit, finishes out the season there, 2 games. Now we start the bounce around times for Lawrence Phillips. Now things start to get a little more unstable.
Reminiscent of childhood, maybe?
Reminiscent of childhood, streams of urine building up in his ears every day.
New house every couple of months. No.
He ends up playing for the Barcelona Dragons.
Oh, God.
Probably the World Football League.
When it starts coming to the WFL or the CFL, it's usually downhill from there.
The Barcelona Dragons 98. I remember the 49ers in him 99. I remember him coming back briefly with the 49ers in 99. Shocking. That didn't work out. You would imagine that would work out, but it didn't.
But that will keep him in California for a long time, will it not?
Well, no, he'd move around a little more. He apparently took the 2000 season off. I guess sometimes you got to catch up. Probably
Take
had a couple
break.
of
Decompress.
a couple of women to beat up.
Sure.
It's some shit he had to catch up on.
A couple of matches he's got to cut weight for.
He's been busy. He's been real busy. So then in 2001, he is primed for a comeback, and he has a comeback with the Florida Bobcats.
Oh boy.
Who this normally wouldn't look something up during this, but I don't know what the fuck the Florida Bobcats are. I got to be really honest with you.
I'm at a loss for words. I
think they're a arena league. Arena.
Are they? Are they really?
They folded in 2001. That was the year Lawrence Phillips was there. I assume they had a female owner, and Lawrence Phillips beat the shit out of her
for a job.
And she didn't want to. The Florida Bobcats, 90s. Wow. Yeah,
Arena League. He's trying to take the Kurt Warner path.
Arena League. I don't even know. Was he any good in the Arena League?
I can't imagine.
Does it matter, really?
It doesn't really matter.
They're playing on a basketball court, so that doesn't really matter what he does in the Arena League.
They're playing on wood.
He plays the Arena League. That went so well that he got an invitation to Canada.
Yes.
Played for the Montreal Alouettes in 2002, which you want your team to have a French.
Sounds tough.
It sounds tough. A French name. And then he goes to the Calgary Stampeders for 2003.
Perfect.
Where I assume he probably stampedes a lot of Canadian
women heads.
So that's his professional football career. There's really. He actually had a great year for the Barcelona Dragons, which was funny. He had 1,021 yards.
Hard not to. You've played in the NFL.
Well, that's
you
how
beat women. You're tough.
That's how he ended up back with San Francisco.
Yeah.
You can't. Everything after that turned into just a sea of legal problems. So it was kind of hard to actually get anything going too well. Even in Canada, they frown upon that, I would imagine. I don't think you're allowed to beat Canadian women either.
Yeah. As
or
pussies
run
as
anybody
they are,
over.
they don't hit women.
So yeah, he's there. So now we get into some very, very interesting heavy prison time and things for that. On August 21st, 2005. This is when things get really fun.
This is when it's sad time.
He goes to a park in L.A. and starts playing pickup football with some teenagers.
Because that is the next step from the Canadian Football League.
Yeah,
it is pickup football.
Fuck the Stampeders, they don't want me. Let's see what these kids are up to.
Yeah.
So presumably he's just bashing the shit out of it. And we were saying this before. Imagine how great this would have been. Because if you're a kid,
Yeah.
Lawrence Phillips is there. He was just in the NFL a couple years ago. If you're a football fan, this guy played for Nebraska. He's a college legend. Yeah. And you're looking at him and you're like, holy shit, he's in the park playing playoff football with us. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Why is he driving at us?
Right. And I imagine he probably saw the Peyton Manning ad on Saturday Night Live and just didn't realize it was satire and just figured I can go beat the shit out of kids all day and it's just fun.
This is fantastic.
I can call them all pussies and drive my car at them.
It's fine. So there's an incident. This isn't even they don't even get into what the incident was.
Right.
I want to know what happened. What could cause that?
The accusation is that they stole from him, but there is no information what, how, where, where did they take it from? What did they steal from him and how did they get it? Did they steal it out of his car or maybe he hit them and one of them was holding a piece of his car and he was like, "You stole that from me." I have no idea.
He's the size of a fucking building. What teenager is going to steal from this fucking guy?
Nobody's stealing from an ex-NFL
He's a frightening man. And if you've heard about his King Kong story, he's even more fucking scary. Who's stealing from this boy?
Nobody.
I'm not stealing from this guy ever. So, anyway, I think I know what happened. If you
I'm willing to listen,
opinion,
sure.
Okay. This is what happened. Because this is what happens in every pickup football game. I think there was a little problem and some argument over the sidelines. They're never defined clearly. It's always like this tree and that, and if you make a line, that's the sideline.
Doesn't even line up.
Well, how the fuck are you going to do it? It doesn't line up. I got my feet in. No, you didn't. How'd you get your feet? There's no way to call this. There's no replay. There's no fucking referee. We're self-judging.
The way to settle it is with the Buick.
You run somebody over with your car. So there's an issue. There's some arguing. Lawrence Phillips goes. They figure, okay, he's leaving. He probably has somewhere to be.
Right.
No, he's going to drive the car up onto the sidewalk and run these teenagers down. Now, we say teenagers. Yeah. I don't know if they were like gang members or if they were like, three kids going, oh, I don't know, Johnny, like throwing a football up in the air. Like, I have no fucking idea.
The kids from the Sandlot, or were they wearing Raiders jerseys?
Exactly. Right. Or were they like, was it Boys in the Hood or the Sandlot? Like, was it Ice Cube? Or was it
Smalls?
Benny Rodriguez? Which one was it? I'm okay with Benny Rodriguez. And I'm okay with Ice Cube also, honestly. But neither of them deserve to be run down by Lawrence Phillips, I don't think. So this is a problem. He at this point also, he's got another problem. He choked his girlfriend. And the San Diego Police Department had wanted him also. Yeah. So he was wanted anyway at this point for that. And so he gets arrested there. Gets sentenced to 10 years for 7 various counts, felony assaults, assault with a deadly weapon, being his car.
Reckless driving and shit, I imagine.
I would assume there's a traffic violation or two in there also.
Driving on the sidewalk.
Driving on the sidewalk.
Failure to yield, failure to use a turn signal, something. Something's in there.
Wouldn't it be great if he used his turn signal before he went up on the curb? He was driving down the street and he's like, I don't want to... Right. I want to run these boys over, but I don't want to inconvenience any of the drivers around me.
I'm turning right.
Turning right. He hand signals and shit, and then he runs them over. And then waves.
The traffic investigator's like, well, I guess we can tack on no turn signal. And the boy on the gurney's like, he used it, sir.
He used his turn signal. We saw him coming.
The last thing I remember was that light. It's so bright orange.
And then, so this is... this starts the Lawrence Phillips prison saga here. This is when it gets very interesting. He's in prison. Finally, the odd thing is, in 2010, he's finally charged with the assault of the Amalia Weisler girl.
Oh, she's so white.
Ex-girlfriend. She's
so Nordic.
One of the whitest people I've seen.
Ever.
Really.
It's really incredible.
Extremely white. Lawrence Phillips has a type because she looks kind of like the girl.
She does look a lot like the basketball
she's
girl.
She's kind of big and Nordic and white. Like, he should have moved to Sweden.
Yeah.
I think he would have had a lot. I think he would have been happier, honestly. I don't think
he'd have more money, tax havens.
Although he probably would have just beat more Swedish girls, more large. These are the only large blonde women he could find.
Yeah.
So
they're everywhere.
Yeah, the lack of large blonde women. So maybe we should have moved him somewhere with no large.
Move him to Mexico.
Tall.
He needs to live in Asia.
He needs to live in Asia where there's no
Play
tall
the
blonde
Asian
women.
basketball or football league. They've got to have one.
They have to.
They've got to.
Yeah, he would have been awesome, just knocking little Chinese guys around
like
all over
bowling
the place.
pins.
Anyway, so here are 7 more counts. Lucky 7s for Lawrence Phillips.
Oh, boy.
Too bad that wasn't his number.
Yeah.
Number 7. Another 7 counts. Assault, great bodily injury, false imprisonment, auto theft. I guess maybe he took her car
After knocking
ran
her
some
out.
more teenagers over, which would have been my go-to. Anyway, so yeah, he's 25 years in prison on those assaults.
On the beating her.
On the beating of her, which more than for running children over.
Right.
Okay.
And in her interviews after he's sentenced, she says he had a big heart and was an unbelievably soft, sweet, caring person.
Again,
those are her words. That's
repeatedly.
amazing.
Repeatedly, people have this to say about him. That's the other thing. People like Lawrence Phillips. The people close to him really love Lawrence
People
Phillips.
that he is choking unconscious still adore him.
That's which I assume, like, I see them as they're going unconscious, he's choking her, and he's, like, over her, but as she's looking at him, as she starts to fade out, she sees, like, hearts around his eyes, you know what I mean? Like that.
Or his big heart beating through his shirt.
Like as a cartoon.
Racing.
Because otherwise, this
pumping
man,
with adrenaline.
I don't understand. He's not a good guy.
No.
But they seem to like him.
It's amazing. All monsters have those that love them. That's crazy.
It's true. But you never hear like anybody be like, "Oh, Dahmer had a really good heart," or like I said before, he wasn't eating people.
Right.
Let's move on. So, 32 years, and in California, because it was a violent crime against another person, he is required to serve 85%.
Unbelievable.
At least of this 32 years.
That's a huge sentence.
So that guy is in there.
Done. For all intents and purposes, 25 years, he's going to prison. And he is how old? He is 40? 42?
At that point, yeah, he was born in 75.
Oh, boy. So he's
in
only
deep
35.
shit. Yeah, he's
in 2010, 35 years
point.
old.
And they're basically saying, you're fucked.
It's over, sir.
It's over, my friend. You are going to jail. Which, that's a long time for... He didn't kill anybody. Now I'm judging I don't think... The sentencing's fine.
Yeah.
I was going to say, it's a long history. You know what? Good job, California.
Yeah, you guys have done well.
You guys did a good job. So anyway, here he is. He's in prison. Doesn't have a good time in prison.
No.
He is not a fan of prison, Lawrence Phillips, obviously.
He's not a fan of gang members, which makes you think that maybe these kids playing pickup football possibly were all Raiders jerseyed out. He does not like gangsters. Not at all.
No gangsters. So he goes to prison. He has a lot of problems. Doesn't get along with people.
Right.
Writes several letters, both to the Ty Pagone, his vice principal and his football coach there. Several letters to his other coach, Coach Zane, and all of them basically are saying how he has no friends and nobody likes him, and it's really kind of like he's like a whiny fat child at this point where he's not happy. But let's start here. Let me give you one. Okay, let me read one of these letters to you. Okay, this is like a letter from camp, basically. Okay, dear Coach Pagone, we are still today on lockdown due to some stabbings and assaults between black and white inmates. It has been ongoing for some time. I am glad to hear Marie's wedding was great. Usually an open bar leads to a lot of dancing. I do not have a cellmate. All of these dudes want to use drugs and weapons in the cell. I'm in the process of applying for single cell status. I will let you know how that goes.
It's so beautiful.
That's just a sweet little, just Marie's wedding.
It's so poetic.
It's. Let's see here, dear Coach Pagone, I received your letter and package day apart. We do get the packages in lockdown, as the companies do not really want the items back. We have been in lockdown about 80% of the time. You would be surprised at all these altercations. Nonsense! Exclamation point. But when your world is this small, all one has to care about is nonsense. He's fucking Nietzsche over here.
Yeah. Nietzsche in an
Phillips.
8x6. Jesus.
That is why I do not want any of these idiots in the cell with me. All they want to do is the drugs.
The drugs.
They want to do the drugs.
The drugs.
Make knives, make alcohol. Toilet wine.
Sounds like prison life, Larry.
This is how I know that alcohol and weed are different, by the way. This is how I know. Because alcohol you need so much that if you go to jail and you will drink wine made in a toilet. Not just a toilet, another dude's toilet. Another dude's toilet. And you're like, all right, I like weed.
Right.
But if you said...
It grows in that dude's ass. No, thank you.
Want to buy some weed? Sure. I grew it out of my ass.
I'm out.
Thank you. Alcohol, not a thing. So, anyway, he keeps going. It's a lot of... This is a good... Dear Coach Zane, I hear you were in Hawaii. I am sure you had a good time. Remember when we went there and kicked their butt in the All-Star game and they tried to hold up our bus and all that crap? Good times. Well, there is not much happening here. We are still on lockdown because they found a hacksaw in someone's cell. Apparently people use the saw to cut up the bunks and make knives. It's completely nuts in here. It is pretty much a free-for-all.
He's fantastic at
I really like his letters.
They are fun.
These
I wish he was still alive to be a pen pal. I'd love to write to him and get these
here
poetic...
in this letter he gets political. This is amazing. Okay, let's get it started. We're back in camp voice. Dear Coach D, Huskers kicked butt out there. I only listened to the radio. The game was not televised here. Amir Abdullah has a real chance at the Heisman, and the Huskers could win the Big Ten. NFL is going through some stuff. Unfair to blame the NFL for what guys do. These misdeeds by the players are being used by the liberal parties and the media to further their particular interests. Next, they will be forcing out owners like they did with the Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling. Well, nothing new here. We're still locked down. One of the guards was assaulted, so it may be a while. Coach D, this place is a jungle. Trouble everywhere.
Oh, good grief.
One must swallow his pride constantly, or one will always be in the hole. But we must deal with that situation. Have a good one.
I'm making that a t-shirt.
What?
That's the best quote ever. One must have a good one. That's the best quote of all time.
He really is Nietzsche, this guy.
One must, say that again, swallow his pride, or
one must swallow his pride constantly, or one will always be in the hole. Wow.
That is glorious.
Wow.
That's the best quote ever.
Wow. This Lawrence Phillips. So these coaches, and I'm sorry to keep going, but
I want that tattooed on my chest. That's fantastic.
Letters from camp. Lawrence Phillips. Dear Coach. So Lawrence Phillips, he's sending letters. He's also saying that I don't know if he's paranoid or maybe they are fucking with him because he thinks the guards are messing with him. Right. He's saying they're not giving him his mail. They're saying he broke his TV. They broke his TV. All he has is a radio now. They're saying that they just like to mess with him and they do certain things. They hold his meals up, stuff like that.
These are his claims.
Which, I mean, the guy...
Possible.
It's possible. He was probably one of the more famous guys in there. These
refused to have a cellmate. Always wanted to be alone.
He's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, he really is.
He's a fucking pain in the ass.
You're going to be a pain in the ass to us, we're going to be a pain in the ass to you. That's the way life is.
I don't blame him. If I'm in prison, I probably don't want to hang out with some jackass who's like making shivs constantly.
Haven't you been paying attention to his letters? This place is nuts.
This place is a jungle. That's true. What am I thinking? One must deal with the situation, or one
must be in the
shall
hole.
remain in the hole. He's
incredible.
This is a guy who read his third book in prison.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's really I'm going to use the word one a lot.
One and shall. Those are my words now.
One and shall.
That's how I talk to everyone.
All the great writers. Let's see here. He is, he keeps sending these letters saying everything's going horribly in prison, things are not going well. Things are bad, obviously. Very paranoid. I think he's paranoid anyway. But then he gets a cellmate. They should have really given him that single cell status that he was applying for.
He was begging for it.
He was begging for it.
He always wanted it. He even wrote a letter to somebody, I'm going to have to give them what they want or else I'm not going to be able to get my single cell.
They really should have given him that single cell.
They kept trying to give him cellmates, and he'd fight with them or argue with them, and they'd leave on their own accord. And then comes the big one.
Then comes a gentleman named Damian Soward, who, coincidentally enough,
so weird,
so strange, is the cousin of R.J. Soward, who you guys might remember as the receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
So crazy.
First-round draft pick for the Jaguars, played at USC. His cousin, R.J. Soward's cousin, is... they think they'd have something to talk about.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Maybe they get
football.
Along.
Right.
Apparently,
both played in the NFC.
One should have remained in the hole because...
Right. Oh, the Jags are at AFC.
It doesn't matter.
Go on.
The Jags are really irrelevant.
They're right.
They're not. It doesn't matter what.
And when Soward played from, they were god-awful.
They were even worse at that point.
Not even thought to playoffs.
It's possible to be worse, but they're not good. Anyway,
no.
So here we go. Soward and him apparently don't get along, Soward and Phillips, and there's some altercations, we'll say.
Yeah.
And Lawrence Phillips ends up killing this young man. Which really, this is his biggest accomplishment. If you think about it. He never won the Super Bowl.
Right.
He didn't get that Heisman.
Right. This is prison Super Bowl.
This is prison Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Killing the cellmate.
Yeah. A bigger cellmate.
He's
bigger than him.
He's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a
6'4".
6'4",
big fucking guy.
Once again, streams of urine that cannot be quelled. And Lawrence's urine rage took him to another level, and I believe it was a choking. Didn't they find him
he
choked
him out.
He's a choker.
He's got plenty of practice in it. We do know that.
Women unconscious. Yeah. We knew that.
Many.
He didn't stop at unconscious.
No.
He
No.
Choked him to death.
Choked him till there was no heart beating any longer.
Till a death.
Yeah.
This guy was also serving 82 years to life for murder. So, I mean, let's not all feel too bad for him.
Right.
This wasn't exactly some teenagers in a park.
Let's say he saved the people of California some money. That's really it. Right.
This was a murderer, and he strangled him. I guess we don't have to say allegedly.
No, he did.
Well, they didn't prove it.
Yeah. Well,
fuck it. He's fucking dead now.
Is he going to sue
Phillips
us?
Is dead too. So you know what? Fuck him.
Yeah.
His family might sue us, but you'd have to prove that he didn't kill this fucking guy. They're in the cell alone together.
Right. There's two men in, one man comes out.
And
he's screaming about man down to the guards. That's how it got people's attention. Man down!
If you have a problem,
I would say so, Mr. Phillips.
If you have a problem with us saying that he killed his cellmate, then go fuck yourself. Because he killed his cellmate.
I'm into that.
That's just based on his history. I'm going to say the choking lines up pretty well. Kills his cellmate. They decided to prosecute him for it. You know, why not?
Why not?
What the hell? He's already in there.
Yeah.
They got nothing better going on.
He's not going anywhere.
No. So we go to October 1st, 2015, which is recently, charged with first-degree murder. First degree. They were trying to figure out. If they wanted to go for the death penalty or not.
Which would make him the second NFL player ever to be up for the death penalty if that's what they chose.
They tried, but
so they go to court for it.
They go to court for it in January. They decide there is enough evidence, plenty of evidence to go forward. Just to go forward enough,
right?
Right there, they go forward. This is a ruling. This happens on the 11th of January, 2016, and the next day, Lawrence Phillips hangs himself.
He is found hanged in his cell, mysteriously, but this time there's not another person coming out. It is just him.
He's the only guy in there. He's in a cell all by himself.
Yeah.
Shocking. They give him his own room after he strangles his giant roommate. But
with a suicide note in his sock.
That's the other thing. Suicide note. He also sent a note to his attorney.
Yep.
Before that, saying sorry for wasting your time.
Right.
Because before that, they were fighting. He really kept telling his family and everybody else that they were going to fight the killing of Soward,
right?
And they were going to. They had no case against him, and blah blah blah. There are his family. A lot of them thinks that he was possibly
targeted by the staff,
or by possibly other inmates, possibly Soward's associates,
Sure.
things like that, because...
The letter in his sock said, "Did you hear the one about the ex-NFL player that hanged himself from the TV mount?" That's hysterical. He went out laughing. I like it.
What a
I'm
character. What a character.
And if his family says that he was not a jokester and would never write something like that, I would like to resubmit those letters that he wrote to these coaches. Those were hysterical.
That's amazing.
The man was so funny.
That is amazing. So he kills himself. Actually, his family just donated his brain to the CTE research to see if he had, brain damage from blows to the head.
I'm going to go with yes.
I am going to put my money on yes on that one. Yeah. I'm going to bet on...
I'm going to say that comes out very soon that he had so much damage.
I'm going to bet on Mushy in that one.
I'm going to bet on worse than Seau.
Worse than... Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because he was a rager. And, I mean, he might have just... Like I said, it was either the urine or the brain damage. But this was a guy who kind of led with his head.
Absolutely.
He was an actual absolute bruiser. And,
He really blew it.
He really blew it, man. He was, God, when you watch some of the videos of him playing, he was really incredible. And now he really, it's sad to watch that kind of potential go away. But he couldn't handle it, and you can't be strangling women.
No.
Or
your cellmate.
Or your cellmate, really. Or NFL.
Either are illegal.
Wide receivers, cousins in jail. You can't do that either. So Lawrence Phillips at this point remains dead.
Yes.
Very recently, like we said, January
12th of this year.
He was killed, and
less than a month. The body's barely cold.
I think it was just 2 days ago. The coroner ruled it a suicide. It kind of finally officially was put in as a suicide, which take that for whatever it's worth. But it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Sorry for wasting your time, letter, and then this. I would say he probably killed himself, and another sad chapter in the Lawrence Phillips saga.
And it comes to a close.
And that's Lawrence Phillips, guys. I mean, it's a trip. I gotta say,
it really is.
It's one of those stories where Ray Caruth to me was less sad because he was not as good of a football player, sad as that is to say. But like Lawrence Phillips could have been a great player. He could have been he could have helped a lot of people. He could have helped kids that grew up in group homes. He could have done so much good stuff, and he just had to strangle white women. He just could not stop strangling women and running people over and doing crazy shit.
Lots of people have a downfall. There's drugs, and his is...
Let's raise a glass. Let's raise a glass to Lawrence Phillips' insanity. Salute.
Rest in peace, you scumbag.
Rest in peace, you crazy motherfucker, you. With that, we'll wrap this up and say thank you very much.
Yes.
Join us again next Tuesday. Not sure. Do we have our next target in line at this point?
I feel like we did.
We did.
We had a couple lined up. You know what? Let's go forward with Aaron Hernandez.
You want to do Aaron Hernandez?
Let's discuss Aaron and his shitty life.
He's fun.
I love that man.
He's fun. He's really fun. We're going to do that. Then we're going to do, I think later on, a couple weeks, maybe we'll, you know what? Pitchers and catchers are going to be reporting
They're reporting soon.
So let's dive into maybe in a baseball thing after that. We'll get into, there's a lot of crazy shit.
There's plenty of them.
Yeah, we'll get into all that stuff. But for now, thank you guys so much. Hope you loved Lawrence Phillips as much as we did. Hope you had as good a time with him as we did, and better time than the women in his life. Thank you very much. Join us next week on the Crime and Sports podcast. Once again, also, too, Jimmy Whisman, you want to give him your Twitter handle? They can follow Jimmy Whisman on Twitter.
At Whisman Sucks on Twitter and Instagram, and Jimmy Whisman, WHISMAN, JIMMIE, by the way. It's the fucking worst. Anyway.
And I am at Jimmy P is funny on Twitter, and please follow the podcast on at Crime and Sports. Very simple. Can't go wrong there. Follow us to see who's going to be up next on all of our things, and we'll be putting up little fun things, making fun of athletes who are in trouble from now until the future. That made no sense at all. Thank you very much. Join us next week. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.